Most people wake up just in time to chase the day. But what if you could rise before the world stirs and claim those sacred hours for yourself? Waking up at 4 a.m. is not just about an early alarm. It's about a radical shift in how you own your time, your mind, and your destiny. In the silence of the early morning, when distractions are asleep, you meet the purest version of yourself. The thinker, the creator, the dreamer, the warrior. Those hours are where discipline is forged, clarity is born, and success begins. If you have ever wondered why leaders, visionaries, and world changers guard their mornings so fiercely, it's because they know the truth. Mastering the morning means mastering life. Number 1. Own the hours no one else wants. The truth about life is this: the hours no one else values are the very hours that hold the greatest power. Most people are prisoners of comfort. They wake up at the last possible moment, rushing through life, letting the day dictate their actions instead of taking control. But when you wake up at 4 a.m., you're no longer living like everyone else. You're living like the few who understand that success doesn't happen in the spotlight. It is born in the shadows of the early morning, when the world is silent. Think about what happens when the clock strikes 4. The streets are empty, social media is quiet, notifications are silent. There's no competition, no noise, no pressure, just you and time. And that is why this hour is priceless. In these sacred moments, you create space for what truly matters. You read without distraction, you meditate without disturbance, you move your body without excuses. The world hasn't yet claimed you, so you belong fully to yourself. These hours are your secret weapon, your hidden advantage in a world that's always rushing and distracted. When I first started waking up at 4 a.m., it wasn't easy. My body resisted, my mind fought back. But I realized something powerful: growth never feels comfortable at first. I began by preparing the night before, laying out my workout clothes, setting my journal on the table, writing down my 3 main goals for the next day. At 4 a.m., I would wake in complete darkness, make a warm cup of tea, and sit in silence for 10 minutes, just breathing and being present. Then I'd read a few pages from a book that challenged my thinking, and afterward I would write down my thoughts and ideas. By 5 a.m., I was exercising, pushing my body, strengthening my discipline. By the time the sun rose, I had already accomplished more than most people would by noon. The transformation wasn't just in my schedule, it was in my identity. I became someone who valued time, who refused to waste it on meaningless scrolling or late-night distractions. Those early hours taught me something profound. You don't need more time in life, you need to own the time others throw away. And those hours between 4 and 6, they are the ones most people give to laziness, but the few who claim them become unstoppable. If you truly desire change, you must start owning what others ignore. Success doesn't belong to those who sleep the longest. It belongs to those who choose discipline over comfort, clarity over chaos, and purpose over excuses. So the next time you feel tempted to stay in bed, remember this: the world is still asleep, and this is your moment. These are the hours that will separate you from the crowd. Own them, and they will change your life forever. Number 2. Silence creates clarity. Silence is a rare luxury in today's world. Our lives are filled with noise, notifications, conversations, responsibilities, and the endless chatter of thoughts. We wake up, and before our feet even touch the floor, the noise begins. Messages, news, deadlines. Most people never experience pure silence, and because of that, they never truly hear themselves. But when you wake up at 4 a.m., you are given the gift that most people have forgotten exists: absolute quiet. This silence is not empty, it is full of answers, if only you listen. In the stillness of early morning, there is no pressure to respond, no demand to perform. It's just you and your breath, your thoughts, your dreams. This is the time when clarity is born, not in the chaos of the day, but in the calm before it begins. I remember when I first started waking up early, I would sit by my window with a cup of tea, lights off, and just listen. At first it was strange. My mind wanted to scroll, to check something, to fill the silence. But over time I realized the silence was speaking to me. It was in those moments that I could reflect. What do I want today to look like? What do I want my life to become? If you give yourself these quiet minutes before the world wakes up, you'll notice something incredible. Your thoughts become organized. The fog that normally clouds your judgment begins to clear. Problems that seemed overwhelming yesterday suddenly feel manageable. You see patterns, you see possibilities, and most importantly, you hear your intuition. silence is your mind's reset button, and 4 a.m. is the perfect time to press it. In my own routine, those silent moments are sacred. I spend 10-15 minutes in pure stillness before I write down my top 3 priorities for the day. These aren't just tasks, they are commitments to myself. Then I spend a few minutes visualizing the day unfolding in alignment with my goals. This small ritual gives me control over my mind before the noise of the world even touches me. By the time others wake up and step into chaos, I've already anchored myself in clarity. If you truly want to take charge of your life, you need to start by taking charge of your mornings. And if you want your mornings to change you, fill them with silence before anything else. Don't start your day by reacting, start by reflecting. In silence you will find peace, in peace you will find power, and in power you will find purpose. Number 3. Discipline equals freedom. Most people misunderstand discipline. They think it's a punishment, a cage that restricts their freedom. But the truth is the opposite. Discipline is the foundation of freedom. Without it, you become a slave to impulses, distractions, and other people's demands. Freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you feel like in the moment. It comes from having the strength to choose what truly matters, even when it's uncomfortable. When you wake up at 4 a.m., you're not just changing your schedule, you're training your will. You're teaching yourself to rise above feelings, above excuses, above the pull of comfort. That alarm at 4 a.m. will not feel easy. Your body will beg for more sleep. Your mind will whisper, just one more hour. And this is where the battle is won or lost. Because every time you obey those whispers, you strengthen weakness. Every time you rise despite them, you strengthen power. I remember the first week I committed to this routine. It was winter. The bed was warm, the air was cold, and everything in me wanted to stay where it was comfortable. But I made a promise to myself, a simple one. I will rise before the sun every day this week. No excuses. The first 2 days were the hardest. My body resisted, my mind complained, but then something changed. On the 3rd day, I woke up before the alarm. My body started to adapt. My mind started to obey. That's the hidden truth about discipline. What feels like chains in the beginning becomes your wings later. The freedom it gave me was priceless. I no longer woke up rushing, no longer felt guilty for wasting mornings. By 6 a.m., I had already completed my workout, read for 20 minutes and planned my day. The rest of the world was still in bed, but I was already ahead. That sense of control bled into everything. Work, relationships, health. My evenings became stress-free because the big things were already done before sunrise. That's freedom. The freedom to live without panic, without chaos, without regret. Discipline is like lifting weights. The first time you pick up the bar, it feels heavy. Your muscles shake and you want to quit. But with every rep, you grow stronger, until one day you realize what once felt impossible is now effortless. Waking up at 4 a.m. works the same way. At first, it feels like a fight against nature, but then you realize the fight was never against sleep, it was against weakness. And you won. If you want true freedom, you must embrace the discomfort of discipline. You can either suffer the pain of self-control now, or the pain of regret later. Choose the pain that gives you power. Because once you master your mornings, you master your life. Discipline isn't a prison, it's the key that unlocks every door you've been dreaming of. Number 4. Prime your mind for success. Your mind is the engine that drives your life, and like any engine, it needs the right fuel and the right warm-up to perform at its best. Most people wake up and immediately flood their minds with noise, scrolling through social media, checking emails, reading negative news. This is like pouring sand into your car's engine and expecting it to run smoothly. The first moments after you wake up are the most powerful because they set the tone for everything that follows. If you prime your mind for chaos, your day will be chaotic. If you prime it for success, you will move through the day with clarity and power. Waking up at 4 a.m. gives you this opportunity, a sacred space to align your thoughts with your goals before the world interrupts. The question is, how do you use this time effectively? For me, it starts with intentional silence. I begin my morning with deep breathing for 10 minutes. No phone, no distractions, just presence. This helps me calm the residual stress from yesterday and focus fully on now. When the mind is calm, it becomes receptive. Next, I feed my mind with something uplifting and challenging. A book that expands my thinking, an audiobook that sharpens my mindset, or even a short inspirational video. This is not entertainment, it is mental nutrition. Just like your body needs good food to stay healthy, your mind needs good ideas to stay strong. During this time, I often highlight quotes or jot down insights in a journal. These notes become anchors I return to throughout the day whenever doubt creeps in. After that, I use visualization. I close my eyes and imagine my day unfolding in alignment with my priorities. Conversations going well, tasks completed, challenges handled with calm and confidence. This practice is more than daydreaming, it's mental rehearsal. Athletes do it before games, musicians before performances. Why shouldn't we do it before living the most important day of our lives today? When I started incorporating this routine, I noticed a profound shift. The days I skipped it, everything felt rushed and reactive. But on the days I primed my mind, I walked into meetings with confidence, handled stress with clarity, and found solutions faster. My external world began to mirror my internal preparation. That's when I realized success is never an accident. It's engineered in the quiet hours of the morning. If you want to achieve more, don't just plan your time, plan your thoughts. Decide what you will allow into your mind before the world throws its chaos at you. Replace negativity with gratitude, distractions with purpose, and fear with faith. Prime your mind like a warrior sharpens his sword before battle. Because every day is a battle, not against others, but against mediocrity, fear, and doubt. And the one who primes his mind first thing in the morning will always emerge victorious. Number 5. Turn goals into rituals. Goals inspire us, but rituals transform us. Anyone can set a goal. I want to lose weight. I want to start a business. I want to be successful. But goals without consistent action remain nothing more than dreams on paper. The secret to turning dreams into reality lies in creating rituals. Small, repeatable actions that move you forward every single day. Goals live in the future, but rituals live in the present. When you wake up at 4 a.m., you create a space where rituals can thrive. The problem with most people is that they chase results without embracing the process. They want the outcome, but resist the discipline. But rituals make success automatic. They remove decision fatigue because you no longer ask yourself, should I do this today? You simply do it because it's part of who you are. That's what 4 a.m. did for me. It gave me uninterrupted time to build the habits that support my biggest goals. Here's how I turned my goals into rituals. I wanted to become physically strong and mentally sharp, so I built a ritual of exercise and reading every morning. At 4 a.m., I wake up, hydrate, and spend the first 10 minutes in meditation to center my mind. Then I dedicate 30 minutes to exercise, bodyweight movements, stretching, and light cardio. This isn't negotiable, it's my ritual. Immediately after, I read for 20 minutes from a book that aligns with my growth. Over time, these actions stopped feeling like chores. They became part of my identity. I no longer try to be disciplined. I am disciplined because my rituals define me. When I first started, it was hard. My mind tried to bargain. You can skip just this once. It's too early. You deserve more sleep. But I understood something important. Every time I honor my ritual, I cast a vote for the person I want to become. And every time I break it, I strengthen the identity of the person I no longer want to be. Success isn't about massive leaps. It's about tiny votes cast daily through your habits. Think of rituals as the foundation of a building. Goals are like the blueprint, but without a strong foundation, the structure collapses. You can have the most beautiful vision board, the clearest goals, but if you don't wake up every day and live the habits that lead there, nothing changes. The good news is this: once a ritual is in place, it no longer feels like effort, it feels like life. So what are your rituals? Do you have a morning routine that aligns with your goals, or do you wake up reacting to the world? Remember this: your life will never rise above your rituals. Create the ones that reflect your dreams, practice them in those sacred early hours, and watch how the extraordinary becomes your new normal. Number 6. Tap into peak willpower. Willpower is like a battery. It drains as the day goes on. Every decision, every temptation, every distraction you fight against takes a little bit of energy away. That's why most people fail to stay disciplined in the evening. They've already spent their willpower on countless small choices throughout the day. The secret to success is to use your willpower when it's at its peak, early in the morning. And there's no better time than 4 a.m. when the world is silent and your mind is fresh. When you wake up at this hour, your mental energy is fully charged. You haven't faced interruptions yet. You haven't read messages, scrolled through social media, or been pulled into anyone else's agenda. It's just you and the raw power of your focus. This is why those early hours are perfect for your most important tasks, the ones that truly move your life forward. If you wait until the afternoon or evening, your mind will be tired, your willpower weakened, and distractions stronger. In my own routine, I leverage this principle daily. When I rise at 4 a.m., I don't waste my peak energy on checking emails or doing shallow tasks. Instead, I use the first hour for deep work, the kind of work that requires clarity and creativity. Whether it's writing a chapter, strategizing for my business, or planning the next 90 days, I do it before sunrise. Why? Because I know this is when my mind is strongest and most disciplined. Later in the day, even simple things feel hard. But at 4 a.m., the hardest things feel possible. I also use this time for physical training. Why? Because working out early takes willpower, and doing it first thing guarantees it gets done. When I finish my exercise before most people even wake up, I feel a surge of confidence and momentum that carries into everything else. This single ritual sets the tone. If I can conquer my body in the dark hours of the morning, I can conquer anything. The biggest mistake people make is assuming they'll have energy later. They plan to start their goals after work or once things calm down. But life rarely calms down. Responsibilities pile up, and by evening you're running on fumes. That's why the early hours matter. They're your protected time, free from interruptions, full of willpower. If you want to change your life, stop trying to fit your most important work into your weakest hours. Instead, schedule it for when your willpower is fresh and untouched. Use the early morning to write, to build, to create, to grow. Tap into your peak energy when the world is quiet and your mind is strong. These hours are not just hours, they are leverage. And when you use them wisely, you will achieve in months what others struggle to accomplish in years. Number 7. Experience the power of solitude. In today's world, we are drowning in noise, constant notifications, endless conversations, social media feeds that never stop. People have forgotten how to be alone. They fear silence because silence forces them to face themselves. But solitude is not loneliness. Solitude is power. And when you wake up at 4 a.m., you step into a realm that most people never experience. A world where you are alone yet completely alive. The early morning hours are sacred because they belong only to you. No one is asking for your time. No messages are flooding your phone. No meetings, no obligations. Just pure, uninterrupted space to reconnect with yourself. This is the time when your soul can breathe, when your mind can think deeply without interruption. For me, these moments are priceless. When I first started waking up early, I noticed how peaceful everything felt. The world outside was still asleep, but inside something awakened in me. I could hear my thoughts clearly, feel my emotions deeply, and sense my purpose stronger than ever before. During these hours, I spend time journaling. I write down what I'm grateful for, what I want to achieve, and what I learned from yesterday. This simple practice brings clarity and calmness. Some mornings I just sit by the window, sip tea, and watch the sky slowly change colors as dawn approaches. That stillness is medicine. It heals the stress, the rush, the chaos that life throws at you every day. In those moments, I am not performing for anyone, not chasing anything. I am simply being, and in that being, I find strength. Solitude is where creativity thrives. Some of my best ideas have come during these early hours when the world was quiet. Books have been written in silence. Businesses have been built in solitude. Great inventions and philosophies were born because someone dared to sit alone and think deeply. If you constantly run from silence, you rob yourself of this power. People say they don't have time for themselves. The truth is they don't make time. Waking up at 4 a.m. gives you that gift. When the world sleeps, you rise, not just physically but mentally and spiritually. You rise to meet yourself, and when you truly know yourself, you become unshakable. If you fear being alone, it's because you don't yet understand your own strength. Solitude is not something to escape, it's something to embrace. It's the soil where self-mastery grows. So tomorrow when you wake before the sun, don't rush to fill the silence. Sit with it, listen, feel the stillness. In that quiet, you will hear the voice of your true self, the one that's been drowned out by the world's noise. And once you discover that voice, you will never feel lost again. Number 8. Health and energy advantage. Your health is the foundation upon which every dream is built. Without energy, even the simplest goals feel heavy. Without vitality, the best opportunities pass you by because you don't have the strength to seize them. And yet, most people start their day exhausted, rushing and consuming whatever junk food gives them a quick fix. Why? Because they wake up late, with no time to care for themselves. Waking up at 4 a.m. changes this entirely. It gives you a head start to invest in your greatest asset, you. When I first embraced the 4 a.m. lifestyle, one of my goals was to reclaim my health. I had fallen into the trap of skipping workouts because there was no time. I would eat on the go and feel sluggish all day. But those early hours became my sanctuary for self-care. Before the phone rings, before the emails flood in, before anyone else's needs steal your attention, you have time to move, to nourish, to strengthen. That single shift turned my health around. My morning begins with hydration. The moment I wake up, I drink a glass of water to reset my system. Then I spend 5-10 minutes stretching to awaken my body. After that, I dive into a 30-minute workout, sometimes bodyweight exercises, sometimes a run in the quiet streets while the stars still shine. There's something magical about running before dawn. It feels like the world belongs to you. This ritual doesn't just keep my body fit, it floods me with energy and confidence. By the time the sun rises, I've already done something powerful for myself. Next comes nutrition. Instead of grabbing processed food on the way out the door, I prepare a balanced breakfast: oatmeal, fruits, eggs, or a smoothie. Eating consciously in the morning sets the tone for better decisions throughout the day. It's a chain reaction. One healthy choice creates another. The beauty of waking early is that you never have to rush these moments. You eat slowly, you savor, you begin your day fueled, not frantic. The health benefits of this routine go beyond the physical. When your body is strong and your energy levels high, your mind functions better, you think clearer, handle stress better, and make sharper decisions. Success isn't just mental, it's physical. Fatigue kills ambition, but energy ignites it. When you care for your body first thing in the morning, you send a powerful message to yourself: I matter, my well-being matters. That confidence radiates in everything you do, how you speak, how you work, how you show up in life. So if you want an advantage in this competitive world, stop looking for shortcuts. The ultimate advantage is health, and the best time to build it is before the world wakes up. Because here's the truth, the strongest version of you is not built in the gym alone, it's built in those early hours when you choose movement over laziness, nutrition over convenience, and discipline over comfort. That's where real energy and real life begins. Number 9. Build momentum before sunrise. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in life. When you start the day slow, you carry that sluggishness into everything you do. But when you start strong, everything feels easier. You create a ripple effect of achievement that lasts for hours. This is why waking up at 4 a.m. can transform your life. It gives you the chance to create unstoppable momentum before most people even open their eyes. Think about how the average person begins their day. They wake up late, hit snooze 3 times, and stumble out of bed already behind schedule. They rush to get ready, skip breakfast, check their phone, and walk out the door stressed and reactive. Their day starts with chaos, and it stays that way. But when you rise early, you flip this script completely. You begin the day on your terms. You lead rather than chase. My routine taught me this truth. At 4 a.m., I wake up and immediately set small intentional wins for myself. The first win is simply getting out of bed without hesitation. That one act builds self-trust. Then I make my bed, not because it's trendy advice, but because it signals order and control. Next, I hydrate, meditate for 10 minutes, and move my body through a workout. By the time I've completed these steps, I've stacked multiple victories before the world has even stirred. These aren't random tasks, they're deliberate actions that build energy, confidence, and discipline. After this, I transition into deep work, the kind of work that demands focus and creativity. For me, this often means writing, strategizing, or tackling a critical project that moves my vision forward. The magic of doing this early is that you're uninterrupted. No calls, no emails, no noise. You enter a state of flow with ease because your mind is fresh. By sunrise, I've often achieved more than what most people accomplish by lunch. That's not a boast, it's a fact of momentum. This momentum doesn't just stay in the morning, it spills into everything else. You walk into the day already winning. Challenges feel smaller because you're grounded in accomplishment. Conversations feel lighter because you're not rushing. And here's the secret. When you start strong, you finish strong. A day that begins with discipline rarely ends in chaos. If you've ever felt stuck, like you're not progressing, the problem isn't your goals, it's your lack of momentum. Success is less about giant leaps and more about consistent forward motion. And the easiest way to create that is to stack wins before the sun rises. Those early victories compound into confidence, and confidence creates results. So tomorrow, when the alarm rings at 4 a.m., remind yourself every minute you own before sunrise gives you an edge. Build that momentum, let the world wake up and find you already moving, already achieving, already unstoppable. That's how you leave the ordinary behind and enter the extraordinary. Number 10. Become unstoppable through consistency. Anyone can wake up early once. Anyone can have a productive day once. But true transformation doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. Consistency is the invisible force that separates the average from the extraordinary. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. The person who shows up every day, even when they don't feel like it, will always outperform the one who moves in bursts of motivation. When I started waking up at 4 a.m., the first few days felt powerful. I felt unstoppable. But then came the real test, the mornings when I didn't want to get up, when my bed felt like heaven, when my body screamed for more sleep. This is where most people quit. They convince themselves it's okay to skip just today, but that's how momentum dies. One skipped day turns into two, and before you know it, the old habits return. I refuse to let that happen. On those mornings, I reminded myself of one truth. Discipline is doing it even when you don't feel like it. Consistency builds identity. Every time you wake up at 4 a.m., you're casting a vote for the kind of person you want to become, a disciplined, focused, unstoppable individual. It's not the alarm clock that changes you, it's the repeated act of honoring your commitment day after day. Over weeks, something remarkable happens. What once felt impossible becomes automatic. Waking up early stops being a challenge and starts being who you are. That is the power of consistency. It rewires your identity. My routine became a non-negotiable. Wake up, hydrate, move, learn, plan, every day without fail. Did I feel motivated every morning? Absolutely not. But here's the secret. Motivation is unreliable. Consistency is bulletproof. The mornings I didn't feel like it were the most important ones because they strengthened my discipline more than any easy day ever could. The benefits of this consistency are compounding. I began to see results in my health. Stronger body, clearer mind. I made massive progress in my work because I was building hours of deep focus daily. My confidence soared because I kept promises to myself. And that confidence spilled into every area of life. People started asking me, how do you stay so consistent? My answer was simple. I don't negotiate with myself. I don't wait to feel ready. I act because it's who I am. If you want to become unstoppable, forget about intensity and focus on consistency. Small wins repeated daily create massive success. Your life doesn't change in a single day. It changes when you show up day after day, especially on the hard ones. So make this your mantra. I will not quit. I will not negotiate. I will be consistent until consistency becomes my nature. Because once it does, nothing, no obstacle, no setback, no challenge can stop you. If you've stayed with me until this point, it means something deep within you is searching for more. Not more comfort, not more excuses, but more life, more clarity, more strength. And I promise you this, waking up at 4 a.m. every day is not just about getting up early. It's about reclaiming control. It's about proving to yourself that you have what it takes to rise while the world sleeps, to lead instead of follow, to set the tone instead of letting life dictate your rhythm. Every morning at 4 a.m. is an opportunity. A sacred space where silence becomes your ally, where your mind sharpens, your body strengthens, and your spirit grows unshakable. This is the hour where dreams are not just imagined, they are built. This is where excuses die and transformation begins. But here's the truth, it will not be easy. There will be mornings when you want to quit. There will be days when comfort whispers louder than your ambition. And in those moments you must choose who you want to become. The person who surrenders to weakness or the person who stands up and says, "Not today, I own this day." I am not asking you to change your life in one giant leap. I am asking you to make a decision, just one. When the alarm rings tomorrow at 4 a.m., do not hesitate. Do not negotiate. Just rise. Put your feet on the floor and claim the power that belongs to you. Start small if you must, but start now. Because greatness doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It grows in the quiet hours when no one is watching. You have one life. Don't waste it sleeping through the hours that could define your destiny. Wake up, move, learn, build, create. Do this not for applause, not for validation, but because you owe it to yourself to become the best version of who you were meant to be. And when you do, when you string together day after day of discipline and purpose, you will realize something powerful. Success was never about luck. It was about consistency. It was about courage. It was about waking up when the world was asleep and saying, "I will not live an ordinary life." So tomorrow before the sun rises, rise and keep rising until you no longer need an alarm clock because the fire inside you burns brighter than any morning star. This is your time. This is your life. Own it.